How does one sit with hard feelings?
I have approached this through the lens of the body, through the lens of somatic work. And what I mean by that is the idea, like you said, of sitting with feelings. And my son, I could see it in his face during therapy when his doctors would say, you have to sit with this discomfort. It was like totally abstract, totally cognitive. What does that mean? And so the work that I do is let's actually see, what does it feel like in our body if we stop and pause for a moment and welcome, like invite in, and this may sound completely ridiculous, but hang in there with me. Invite in a feeling of discomfort, of frustration, an everyday feeling of insecurity or rejection. You could invite that into the body and just see, does it have a shape in your body? Does it have a location in your body? Does it have a color? Does it have a density or an intensity? And the work is to actually go into our inner experience of emotion and just know and feel and learn what that's like. And that gives us something tangible and discernible to sit with.
And the science behind how emotions move through the body is so fascinating to me because the research that I've stumbled upon anyway says that emotions will enter in and peak and leave in roughly 90 seconds if we don't feed it with something, right? If we don't give it a story or a thing to hang on to, like, oh no, that would be bad. Oh no, that's not proper. Oh, that mom at the park's going to judge me. Oh, that no, you can't climb up the slide because, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what's fascinating to me in that is that it feels, even for myself, it can feel almost like climbing a mountain to carve out 90 seconds to just notice, to notice that emotion come in, right? Like, oh, I'm getting mad. I'm getting mad that I'm going to have to tell you for the 10th time to put your shoes on and it's going to come out not so nice. And this is all happening in like a millisecond, right? Like less than a millisecond. And then it's like that emotion will peak for every person's different, but it will peak and kind of move on. Not always in 90 seconds, especially when we have like compounded stories about certain feelings. But in a similar way, what I work with my clients, I come from a lens of expressive arts therapy. And so it is a lot of body-based resourcing. And where do you feel that? What happens when that looks like that? What is the metaphor? When you said, what is the intensity or the density or the thing? And I had my eyes closed. It was like, I can feel that. Like I can feel what that would be like. And it was kind of like a pulsing in and out of the feeling that I was focused on while you were saying that. And I could tell that if I didn't pay attention to it potentially, that it would come out in some other way later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think what you're saying so beautifully is that we do tend to go to our minds for insight and understanding and guidance. And if we make a conscious, intentional decision to try to shift that and go to our bodies have a natural wave-like experience of emotion. Right? Like exactly like you said, it peaks and then it dissipates. And that is a natural way to move through and to feel and process an emotion. But when we get hung up on the words and the stories, the narratives, attaching meaning, and that's when emotion gets really stuck within us, right? And
Mhm.
so although it's very important to feel, to find the feeling and to give it a voice and what does it feel like, what does it look like inside you, but then also to really consciously detach from any kind of cognitive experience of it, at least for a few minutes, and let it be solely about being in the body.